The stallion beneath me bucked like a demon unleashed, its muscles rippling under sweat-slicked hide as the Rocky Mountain wind howled in my ears. I gripped the reins with knuckles white as bone, my screams swallowed by the chaos, certain this was how it ended. Flung into the dirt of some godforsaken Colorado ranch, my secrets buried with me. But then Alex was there, his strong arms wrapping around my waist from the saddle behind, yanking me back against his chest with a grunt that vibrated through us both. "I've got you, Jamie. Don't let go." That pull, that desperate hold, it wasn't just about the horse. In the split second before Coach Harlan's voice cracked like a whip across the field, ordering us down, I felt it. The spark that had simmered in homeroom glances and locker room brushes now igniting into something reckless, something that could burn us both alive. And Harlan's eyes, locked on us from his perch on the fence, weren't angry. They were knowing, like he'd seen this rodeo play out 100 times before, and whatever came next, it wouldn't be the happy trails we'd all been promised on this senior class trip. We'd piled into those yellow school buses at dawn, bleary-eyed from the all-nighter cram sessions back in Denver, the kind where textbooks blurred into dreams of escape. Evergreen High wasn't exactly a pressure cooker, but senior year felt like one anyway. College apps looming like storm clouds, parents' expectations heavy as the snowpack in the passes. Me? I was Jamie Ellis, the quiet kid with the sketchbook full of half-drawn landscapes and the backpack stuffed with dog-eared copies of Walt Whitman I'd never admit to loving. Gay in a town where faggot still got tossed around like loose change, but I'd mastered the art of invisibility. Laugh at the right jokes, nod at the football pep rallies, and keep my crushes locked in the same vault as my fears. Alex Rivera was the opposite. Captain of the soccer team, with that easy grin that lit up rooms and dark curls that fell just so over his forehead. We'd been classmates since freshman year, orbiting each other in biolabs and group projects, but never colliding. Until now. This bonding retreat at Whispering Pines Ranch was Principal Vargas's big idea. 3 days of forced fun in the foothills, horseback riding, team-building ropes courses, and esmores by the fire to forge lifelong connections. I figured it'd be awkward torture, but when the bus lurched to a stop and Alex slid into the seat next to me, his knee bumping mine with a casual "mind if I crash here?" my pulse kicked up like I'd chugged 3 espressos. The ranch sprawled out like a postcard from another life. Endless acres of sagebrush and pine, the kind of wide-open America that makes you feel small and infinite all at once. Cabins clustered around a central corral, smoke curling from stone chimneys, and the air crisp with the scent of hay and horse. We unloaded in a chaos of duffels and chatter, Coach Harlan barking orders like a drill sergeant on vacation. He was in his late 40s, built like the ranch itself, broad-shouldered, weathered skin from years under this sun, with a salt and pepper beard that hid a scar on his jaw from some untold rodeo mishap. Ex-Army, rumor had it, now teaching PE and coaching the riding elective. Strict, but fair. The kind of guy who made you want to stand taller. By midday, we were saddled up for the first lesson, a dozen of us wobbling on rented geldings like kids on tricycles. My horse, a bay named Maverick, seemed more interested in grazing than galloping, which suited me fine. I wasn't here to play cowboy. Alex, though, took to it like he'd been born in the stirrups, his laughter ringing out as he urged his mount into a trot. "Come on, Ellis. Live a little," he called, circling back to me, that grin flashing white against the blue sky. I managed a weak canter, heart hammering not from the motion but from the way his thigh brushed mine when he slowed to match my pace. We fell into easy talk about the absurdity of quadratic equations, his little sister's obsession with TikTok dances, my secret dream of backpacking the Appalachian Trail. Felt normal, dangerously so, like maybe, out here under this endless sky, the rules back home didn't apply. But then Maverick decided he'd had enough. 1 minute we were chatting about our college lists. The next, he reared, eyes rolling wild at a jackrabbit darting from the brush. The world tilted, hooves pawing air, my body sliding backward, and I was airborne, weightless terror gripping my gut. Time stretched, the ground rushing up, the class's gasps fading into a roar. Then impact, not with dirt but with Alex. He'd vaulted from his horse in a blur, tackling me mid-fall, rolling us both into the soft grass verge. We landed in a tangle, his body shielding mine, breath hot against my neck as we panted in unison. "Holy shit!" he wheezed, propping up on an elbow, his face inches from mine. Hazel eyes wide, lips parted. God, they were chapped from the wind, and I wanted to. "No, stop. You okay?" I croaked, my hand still fisted in his shirt. He nodded, a slow smile breaking through the adrenaline. "Yeah, you." Before I could answer, Harlan was there, dismounting with a thud that shook the earth. His boots crunched gravel as he hauled us up, grip firm but not rough. "Rivera, Ellis, what the hell was that stunt? You trying to get yourselves killed on day one?" His voice was gravel, but his eyes flicked between us, lingering a beat too long on where Alex's hand steadied my elbow. "Just reflexes, coach," Alex shot back, brushing dirt from his jeans, but there was a defensiveness in it, like he'd been caught at something. Harlan grunted, clapping Alex on the shoulder. A touch that looked paternal but felt loaded to me, like a warning shot. "Get back in the saddle. Both of you. And Ellis, keep your head in the game next time." He turned away, but not before I caught the shadow crossing his face, a flicker of something raw, almost envious. The rest of the afternoon blurred. Apologies from Maverick's trainer. A mandatory cool-down walk with the horses. The class buzzing with retells of the epic save. Alex stuck close, bumping my shoulder at dinner in the mess hall, whispering, "Told you? Live a little." Over burgers and coleslaw, he dragged me into a game of cards with a few others, his knee pressing mine under the picnic table, casual as breathing. By firefly hour, as the sun dipped behind the peaks in a blaze of orange and purple, I was hooked, not just on the ranch's magic, but on him. The way his laugh crinkled his eyes, the quiet intensity when he talked about wanting to study environmental science, to fix what we've broken out here. That night, bunked in a cabin that smelled of cedar and old leather, sleep dodged me. Moonlight slanted through the window, picking out the lump of Alex in the top bunk across the room. The others snored softly. Timid Ethan from debate club, rowdy Mia from drama. But my mind replayed the fall, the catch, the almost. What if Harlan had seen more? What if Alex had felt it too, that electric pull? I slipped out for air, boots soft on the dew-wet grass, heading for the corral where the horses dozed. Stars wheeled overhead, the Milky Way a river of light, and for once the weight of hiding felt lighter. That's when Harlan found me, silhouetted against the fence, a thermos of coffee in hand. "Can't sleep, kid?" His voice was softer out here, minus the coach bark. I startled, nearly knocking over a water trough. "Just processing." That fall shook me up. He nodded, pouring a second mug and handing it over. Black, steaming, bitter as truth. "Horses'll do that. Teach you trust or break it." He leaned on the rail, staring at the dark shapes in the paddock. "Saw the way Rivera looked at you today. Reminded me of someone." My throat tightened. "Yeah? Who?" Pause long as a held breath. "Me 20 years back. Summer job on a spread like this. Thought I had it all figured, strong hands, quick draw. Then this wrangler, Eli. He upended everything." Harlan's gaze stayed fixed on the horizon, but his voice cracked just a hair. "We'd ride out at dawn, him teaching me the trails, me pretending it was just bros being brothers till one night, after a storm, we didn't pretend anymore." I swallowed hard, the coffee burning my tongue. He was talking about a guy. What happened? Life happened. He shipped out for college in California. I stayed, joined the army to run from it. Never saw him again. He straightened, capping the thermos with a finality that echoed. "Point is, Ellis, whatever's brewing with you and Alex, don't let fear rein you in, but be smart. This world's got spurs that bite." I nodded, words stuck like burrs. Harlan clapped my shoulder, gentle this time, and headed back to his cabin, leaving me with the stars and a revelation that shifted the ground under me. The coach, our unyielding rock, had cracks of his own, and in sharing them he'd handed me a map to navigate my own. Dawn broke cold and clear, the class shuffling out for round 2 of riding. Alex fell in beside me at breakfast, piling his plate with pancakes like nothing had shifted. "Rough night?" he asked, noting the shadows under my eyes. "Something like that." I managed to smile, the secret of Harlan's story buzzing in my veins like caffeine. "You?" He shrugged, but his eyes held mine a beat longer. "Dreamed about flying. Or falling. Hard to tell." We mounted up again, paired by Harlan's design. Me on a calmer mare named Willow, Alex on his spirited chestnut, Blaze. The trail wound up into aspen groves, leaves shivering gold in the breeze, the air sharp with pine resin. Our horses plodded side by side, close enough that our stirrups clinked rhythmically, a Morse code of proximity. Talk flowed freer today. His parents' divorce carving him into a fixer, my mom's endless shifts at the diner leaving me to fend for myself. "You're tougher than you look, Jamie," he said at one overlook, where the valley unrolled like a rumpled quilt. "That sketchbook of yours? It's not hiding, it's armor." Heat crept up my neck. "You saw that. Once or twice. The way you draw the light. It's beautiful." His voice dropped, and when our gazes locked over the horses' necks, the world narrowed to the space between us, charged, waiting. The trail dipped into a shaded hollow, sunlight dappling the path like scattered coins. Willow stumbled on a root, pitching me forward. Alex reached over instinctively, his hand catching mine on the rein. Skin on skin, warm and deliberate. Neither of us pulled away. "Steady," he murmured, thumb brushing my knuckle. It was innocent, had to be, but my pulse thundered louder than hooves. Back at the corral by lunch, the class scattered for free time. Some to the ropes course, others to the lake for kayaks. Alex tugged my sleeve. "Wanna explore? There's a ridge Harlan mentioned, panoramic views." "Hell yes." We hiked up loose shale, packs light with water bottles, the sun baking our shoulders. At the top, wind-whipped and breathless, we dropped to the rocks, legs dangling over the edge. Below, the ranch looked toy-sized, a diorama of our fragile lives. "You ever feel like you're waiting for permission?" Alex asked suddenly, skipping a pebble into the void. "Like to just be? All the time." "What do you mean?" He picked at a frayed shoelace, avoiding my eyes. "Stuff with my family. Soccer. Everything's gotta be perfect or it's failure. A beat. And then there's other stuff. Things I haven't figured how to say." My heart clenched. "Say it, please." But the word stuck, so I nudged his boot with mine. "You've got time. We're seniors. World's our oyster or whatever bullshit they peddle." He laughed, but it was hollow. Then, quieter, "What about you, Jamie? What's the thing you can't say?" The question hung heavy as the altitude. I opened my mouth, to deflect, to joke. But Harlan's story echoed, urging me forward. "That I'm scared. Of a lot. But mostly, of liking someone I shouldn't." Alex turned, his expression unreadable. "Why shouldn't you?" "Because you're straight. Because it'll ruin everything. Because it's complicated." He held my gaze, the wind tousling his curls. "Maybe it doesn't have to be." That afternoon blurred into a haze of possibility. We rejoined the group for archery. Me missing every target, Alex coaching my stance with hands on my shoulders that lingered. Dinner was chilly and cornbread under string lights. The class trading ghost stories that dissolved into gossip. Whispers about who'd hook up in the cabins, who flunked the last chem test. I caught Mia eyeing us across the fire, her eyebrow arched knowingly. But Alex just slung an arm around the log behind me, casual camouflage. As embers died to glow, he leaned in. "Midnight ride?" Harlan said the horses need exercise. Insane. Romantic. Terrifying. "You're on." The clock tower in the distance. Some old mining relic. Chime 12 as we snuck to the barn. Flashlights cutting shadows. Our breaths fogged in the chill. Giggles muffled as we saddled Willow and Blaze. Harlan's cabin light was out. The ranch slept. We walked the horses single file up a deer path, moonlight silvering the world into monochrome magic. At a meadow clearing, we dismounted, tethering them to graze. Alex spread a blanket from his pack. Prepared, this boy, and we lay back, hands inches apart, staring at the stars. Orion's belt, he pointed, tracing the constellation. My dad used to say it was a warrior's sword. Mine said it was just gas and dust. I turned my head, our faces close enough to share breath. But tonight, it feels like a promise. He shifted, propping on an elbow, his free hand finding mine in the grass. Jamie, that thing you said earlier, about liking someone. My throat went desert dry. Yeah, it's not complicated for me. And then he kissed me, soft at first, tentative like testing a fragile bridge. Then deeper, his lips warm and sure, tasting of mint and midnight. My world exploded into color. The press of his body, the sigh he let out against my mouth, the way his fingers threaded through my hair. It was everything tender, urgent, real. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching. I've wanted that since the bus, he confessed, voice rough. Me too. God, Alex. We talked then, in whispers, his bi awakening in junior year, stolen glances at me in the halls, the fear of labels in a school that still whispered about the gay kid who transferred out last spring. My own buried truths spilled out. The crushes on teachers, the poetry I wrote in code, the loneliness that gnawed like winter wind. Under that blanket of stars, we weren't classmates or crushes. We were conspirators, allies in a quiet revolution. Dawn crept in too soon, painting the meadow rose. We rode back flushed and giddy, stealing touches on the reins. The class stirred as we stabled the horses, none the wiser. Breakfast was torture. Sitting across from each other, knees brushing under the table, eyes locking with secrets. Harlan noticed, though. His glance over coffee held a nod of approval, a silent, I told you so. But as we geared up for the ropes course, Mia sidled up, her voice a conspiratorial hiss. You two were out late. Spill. Stargazing. I lied, cheeks burning. She smirked. Aha, just watch your backs. Jake's been running his mouth. Jake Harlan, no relation to the coach, thank God, the soccer team's enforcer, Alex's ex-teammate with a grudge the size of the Continental Divide. Straight as an arrow, mean as a rattlesnake, and convinced anything not straight-laced was fair game for torment. By midday, the whispers had teeth. During the high-wire walk, Jake accidentally jostled the platform as I crossed, sending me swaying into the harness. Laughter rippled below, his voice cutting through. Careful, Ellis. Don't want to fall for anyone. The double entendre landed like a slap, eyes darting to Alex, who clenched his jaw beside the belay line. Harlan shut it down fast, yanking Jake aside for a chat that echoed with clipped commands. But the damage simmered. At lunch, notes passed under trays. Crude drawings, slurs scrawled in marker. Alex found me by the lake later, skipping stones with furious arcs. Ignore them. They're jealous idiots. Easy for you to say. I hurled a rock, watching it sink without ripple. You're the golden boy. I'm expendable. He grabbed my arm, spinning me to face him. You're not. Last night, that was real, Jamie. Us against them, we win. His conviction cracked my armor. We kissed again, hidden by willows, fierce and affirming. But as we pulled apart, a rustle in the brush. Jake, phone out, smirking from the shadows. Smile for the gram, lovebirds. The video hit the class group chat by dinner. Grainy footage of our kiss, captioned Ranch Rom-Com. Ellis plus Rivera edition, yeehaw gay. Phones buzzed like hornets. Mia texted support. Ethan liked it quietly. But Jake's crew piled on, emojis of cowboys with rainbow lassos, threats veiled as jokes. Alex stormed the fire pit, deleting the post from his phone, voice booming, "Knock it off. This isn't funny." Harlan materialized like a ghost, phone in hand, his face thunderous. Group huddle. Now. He herded us to the mess hall, away from prying eyes, his presence a wall against the storm. I've seen worse than this back in my day. He started, voice steady as granite. Barracks bullshit, small-town sermons. But here's the deal, you're kids. Scared, figuring it out. Jake, You're benched for the weekend. And the rest, grow up or go home. Eyes downcast, mumbles of apology. But as the group dispersed, Harlan pulled Alex and me aside. My office. Cabin 3. Inside, lamplight glowed warm on knotty pine walls lined with faded photos. Harlan in fatigues, younger, arm around a man with Eli's smile. He poured sodas from a mini fridge, sinking into a creaky chair. That video? It's out there. Can't reel it back. But you too, you've got choices. Alex gripped my hand under the table. What do we do, coach? Harlan leaned forward, elbows on knees, the scar on his jaw catching light. Own it. Or hide. I hid once, lost Eli to it. Wouldn't wish that on you. His eyes softened. This ranch? It's neutral ground. But back home, it'll test you. We talked till stars pricked the window, strategies, supports, the school's counselor who was an ally. Harlan shared more. Eli's letters from Cali. The army discharge that wasn't honorable. The decades of silence. I came out here to heal, he said. Horses don't judge. People. They learn. Gratitude swelled. Thick in my throat. Why tell us? You could have just shut it down. Because I see me in you, Ellis. And him in you, Rivera. A wry smile. Plus, life's too short for bad sequels. We left fortified, arms linked defiantly as we crossed the yard. Jake lurked by the corral, face sullen. But one glare from Harlan sent him scattering. That night, bunked closer than rules allowed, Alex and I whispered plans. Coming out on our terms, maybe a joint post, or just showing up hand in hand at the winter formal. But dawn brought the Real storm. Not thunder, but a call on Harlan's radio. Wildfire in the next county. Smoke drifting our way. Evac protocols kicking in. The class loaded buses in organized panic. Duffels flying. Horses trailered in a frenzy. Alex and I stole moments. Packing side by side. A quick kiss in the tack room. But tension coiled tight. Jake's crew sulked at the back, shooting glares. As the last bus idled, Harlan gathered us for a final word. This trip? It wasn't about ropes or rides. It was about facing fears. His gaze swept the group, landing on us. Some of you learned that. Proud of you. The drive back wound through canyons, smoke hazing the horizon like a veil. Alex's hand in mine under the seat, steady anchor. Phones lit up with homefront buzz. The video spreading beyond class, parents calling, Mia rallying a counter-thread of rainbows. Fear gnawed, but so did hope. Pulling into Evergreen's lot, reality crashed. Reporters from the local paper, a cluster of protesters with signs. Protect our kids. Led by Jake's firebrand dad. A councilman with a Bible fetish. Cameras flashed as we debarked, mics thrusting. Alex, Jamie, comment on the relationship. Alex froze, hands slipping from mine. Harlan stepped forward, badge glinting. Wait, badge? Back off. These are minors. Story's mine. The crowd hushed as he faced the lenses, voice booming clear. I'm Coach Harlan. And yeah, there's a story. It's about two brave kids who fell, literally and figuratively, and chose love over fear. It's about a school that needs to catch up. A breath. And it's about me. I'm gay. Have been since before most of you were born. Eli was my first love, and I lost him to silence. Won't let that happen again. Gasps rippled, phones dropping. Jake's dad spluttered, sign wilting. Harlan continued, unflinching. This ranch taught me grace under fire. So here's mine. Support these boys, or get out of the way. The unanticipated, he didn't just defend us. He burned his own closet to the ground, a human shield of 40 years' regret. Reporters swarmed him now, but he waved them off, turning to us with a nod. Go home. Live true. Chaos erupted. Cheers from allies, shouts from haters. Alex's parents arrived, faces pale but open. His mom pulling him into a hug, Dad clapping my shoulder awkwardly. Mine? Dad's truck idled at the curb, engine rumbling like judgment. But Mom leaned out, waving me over with a fierce inside, Kiddo, we talk later. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was a whirlwind. The video went viral, not as scandal but spark. Evergreen's GSA tripled overnight, Vargas issuing a zero-tolerance memo. Jake got suspended, his dad grilled in council meetings. Harlan, front-page hero, interviews on NPR, a GoFundMe for his Eli scholarship at the local college. But the real story unfolded quieter. Alex and I navigated the stairs. Handholds in hallways. First, I love you,'s over diner fries. Dates to indie films in Boulder. Hikes where we traced constellations on each other's skin with fingertips. Harlan mentored us. Coffee meetups turning into life lessons. Love's a trail, boys, winding, but worth the blisters. Betrayal came subtle from within. Turns out Jake wasn't solo. He'd looped in Alex's dad early, a concerned tip-off that cracked old wounds. Dad Rivera confessed over family dinner. Invited me, awkward olive branch. Admitting he'd pressured Alex to man up post-video, fearing the town's tongue. It stung, that fracture in our foundation. Alex's eyes wet as he confronted it. You almost cost me everything, he said, voice breaking. Redemption followed, raw and real. Dad's apology letter, therapy sessions, a pride flag in their yard by June. Human, messy, America at its core. Graduation dawned bright. Caps tossed under the same sky that birthed our story. Alex and I, diplomas in hand, stole to the football field bleachers, his head on my shoulder. Never anticipated this, he murmured. Me neither. But damn, it's good. Harlan found us there, retirement papers tucked in his pocket. Time for a road trip, he said, chasing Eli's ghost to the coast. You too? Keep riding. Together. We did. Through college splits, me to art school in Chicago, him to Boulder for Enviro, video calls turning to visits, a shared apartment by 22. Life through curves, job losses, family rifts, the ache of distance. But we learned Harlan's grace. Face the fire, emerge scarred but whole. Years on, at our wedding in those same Rockies, willows arching over vows, Maverick's grandfoal grazing nearby, Harlan officiated, voice thick. From one fall to this, miracles happen. And as Alex kissed me, ring cool on my finger, I knew. The unanticipated wasn't the coach's blaze. It was us, forged in dust and daring, loving loud in a land that sometimes listens.